Before we go any further,
Back the governor anyway, but it helps with Trump.
oh, to be a GOP name, eh? The latest must be seen event. No idea why. Guess they need some level of attention.
A month. He's been here a month. I am disappointed in looking at the Americans, supposedly American citizens in that courtroom, that the DA comes in and he acts like it is his Super Bowl. And I guess it is, to be noticed. But that's what's happening in this country.
What is that book called? Is it How to Win Friends and Influence Them? How to Lose Friends and They Influence You? There is a title, please, in the comment section. Suffice to say, Joe Exotic is kind of pissed off with Trump. I've called him by his name. Look at his tweet.
Inside Donald Trump's prison cell, the surroundings are like any other small, enclosed space. The walls are gray concrete, and a narrow cot with a thin mattress is the only piece of furniture. A tiny metal sink and toilet combo sit in one corner, while a small barred window allows a sliver of natural light to filter in. The sound of clanking bars echoes through the air as guards patrol the hallway outside.
What is...
President Trump is 76 years old. He will die in federal prison.
Trump spends his days pacing the limited floor space. The once powerful man now finds himself in a place of confinement.
Sunday, you probably are fully aware, was Mother's Day, which allowed the Uncle Tim of the Year, also known as the head of ass-kissing for the Republican Party. Am I allowed to say that? Dim Scott. How long is he keeping this picture thing going? Yeah? Every so often we get an updated picture. He's still a virgin, by the way. Allegedly. Sue me if I'm wrong.
Who's that?
Confession. I swear a lot. Well, it's not a big deal. I try not to do it in front of my 4-year-old. That being said, don't really get it. We're in 2024 and various people on blue tick Twitter, can you believe it? Bearing in mind how much language of a fornication type the ousted president, the losing president of the United States uses, as in a former guy, you would have thought his sycophants were familiar with the language, but no, outrage! How dare VP Harris have a F-bomb moment? How dare she?
We have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open, sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that fucking door down. Excuse my language.
The new Meghan McCain, my father, also known as I can't keep a straight face. Eric Trump has a new role in life. Past the makeup. The Gary Busey son of look. Oh, this is crazy, okay? He's just been whining, like really whining on Fox. Is that his new role, just to whine? What he says, by the way, I would love to see Eric Trump cross-examined by somebody like George Conway. Oof.
I have. Honestly, I've been there many days because I love my father. He's an incredible guy, and what they're doing to him is just unthinkable, right? And
I should just add, by the way, Eric Trump wants you to stop laughing at him. Please do not laugh at him.
I have. Honestly, I've been there many days because I love my father. He's an incredible guy, and what they're doing to him is just unthinkable, right? And I say this all the time. No one believes that for $130,000 8 years ago, the entire top brass of the New York DA's office is sitting in court, and they're sitting there, and they're giggling, and they're laughing, and this is their all-star moment. This is their Super Bowl moment, and they're excited, and they're laughing, and they finally have the opportunity to get my father. You know, you have the number 3 from the DOJ in Washington, D.C., who left the DOJ to come into New York with one sole intent, and that's to prosecute my father. But then I look at Cohen, and he's so giddy. He's so happy to say that he was a personal attorney for Donald J. Trump.
Including today.
The personal attorney, and how honored he was, and how great it was, and he worked in that role. He worked in that role even after he left the organization. But despite that, for some reason, when he bills a company for a legal expense, and they book it as a legal expense, that's a felony. That's a felony according to New York prosecutors. Laura,
Gonna ask you a straight question now. Need you to listen and pay attention. Do you hear the word yes? Do you hear the word no? Or your third option, word salad.
Why stop at 34? Cohen says that he called your dad to make sure that he approved of what he was doing and that he would be reimbursed for everything. He required Mr. Trump sign off basically on everything. That's what he repeated throughout the day.
Yeah, isn't that really interesting? Because it kept on getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and Michael Cohen kept on making excuses that he couldn't get the payment, and then he finally comes out in one of the emails that says that, well, I can't get in touch with him.
But did he sign off on everything, your dad?
You know what? I can't get in touch with the president. You know why? Because he's in Iowa, and he's campaigning in every swing state, and he couldn't get him. You know, it's really amazing how he comes out. And I mean, the email chains clearly show this. But Laura, that's not what this is about. They want to take my father down in New York. They want to do it civilly. They want to do it criminally. They want to do it in Georgia. They want to try and do it in Washington, D.C. They go to the farthest left areas of this country. They have radical prosecutors, all with one thing in common. They're all funded by Soros, every single one, and they have a damn mission to go after Donald Trump because he's winning in every poll. And when you
that be, and he said, my son Eric is much more involved with it than I am. I've been doing other things. And then he said, you know, he's involved in major final decisions, you know, whatever. That was his quote. I mean, when you read that, what do you think he's saying about Eric Trump's responsibility for the decisions they make?
Well, look, I think that Eric Trump became, in many ways, the face of the company.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'd say those aren't crimes anyway, even if he did say okay.
Of course they're not. NDAs are completely illegal.
I mean, that's the point. I would say
NDAs are done
anyway.
every single day by every single organization. By the way, every organization, including this one, would go down in flames if an NDA was illegal, because every single organization, every single person has NDAs in that world.
What kind of a...
Should we have one more go at flogging this dead wooden spoon that is Eric Trump attempts to do a interview? The crowd size of Trump's New Jersey, whatever it was, Trump Fest. Well, apparently it is the biggest gathering of skid marks since Dirty Laundry first gathered behind the back of a laundry.
Wildwood on Saturday, where he has 100,000 people show up, 100,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Springsteen can't pull half of that amount,
Don't steal our thunder. We're getting into
trying not to, but I'm excited about this.
The world's greatest lawyer is on its way. Ungreatest. So that's a very bad joke. Let me just explain the conundrum of how it works. So, former guy turns up at court and quotes Fox News as evidence that he's innocent. Fox News quote Trump as evidence that he's innocent. Oh, I'm confused.
You know, former President Trump stood in the hallway there saying that all of these legal experts keep saying there's no crime there. And I've been going through all of the reports, all of the editorials, all of the left-leaning news sources. I can't find a legal analyst out there who's actually explaining how a crime was committed here, how there.
He's just in the way. This can turn to you. It could turn to me. It could turn to our children. And that's what they're doing. They're indoctrinating, they're corrupting, and they're throwing out the American Constitution that our country was made on. It is completely out the window. It's so sad to see, Sean. It has to stop.
It has to stop. All right.
Well, you know, they don't. J.D. Vance was on his phone the entire time. He wasn't taking in a word of testimony. Tuberville, to his credit, you know, straight ahead, listening, taking it all in as best he can, whatever sense he can make of it. But J.D. Vance, there was really no reason for him to come if he wasn't going to take in anything that was happening.
Lawrence, he tweeted that it's not fair to accuse Donald Trump of falling asleep and, you know, not being with it because he's, as he says, is 39 years old and he was almost falling asleep.
Yeah, there you go. So they're there to corroborate they're there to help with the sleep defense. Okay, that I guess that's where the vice presidential auditioning begins. Can you come in the courtroom and please help with the sleep defense?
Also, something that may have been in jest, an episode of The West Wing. Lawrence O'Donnell, thank you. And for more on all of Lawrence's observations from.
You learn something every single time Nepo Trump opens her mouth. Did you know, being a loser is all part of God's plan for the Trump family? Well, there's a new one for the RNC. Maybe that'll work for them, because it's all about the grift, by the way. Somebody give me something funny to say about Lara Trump. Please, because she's stealing all of my jokes just by opening her gob.
I'll tell y'all something. The 2020 election was really tough. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into it in our family. Man, did we pour everything we had into that election. And none of us in this room, and especially none of us in our family, liked what happened. But I believe that God had a plan. And as much as we are hurting as a country right now, as terrible as it is to see day in and day out what is going on, the complete void at the White House, because I don't even know what you want to call that going on there, I believe that God had to do this so that so many people could wake up and see what is going on. And ladies and gentlemen, they are waking up every day. They are seeing what is going on. And let me tell you something. Once you are awake, you do not go back to sleep. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. People in this country are starting to realize what's going on. And so I'm ready for November 5th, 2024.
Very depressing. Both Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama said they were just there to support a friend. But both then criticized Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. Vance also attacked the judge's daughter, repeating claims made by the former president. Joe, yes. Courtrooms aren't supposed to be like Studio 54 and 79. They are a little drab. They are a little boring. They are, in fact, a little depressing. But also just the ongoing debasement of these men. I mean, he was the leader of young men for his whole life as a head football coach. No. J.D. Vance is a United States Marine, for God's sake, where it's all about honor. And you just watch them performatively outraged on behalf of the man, I guess, who they want to be the vice president or close to power or something. It's very sad.
It's different stories for both of these men. Tommy Tuberville wasn't exactly sure who fought in World War II and what World War II was fought for. But J.D. Vance, I mean, we could get the clips. J.D. Vance, was wearing his little Silicon Valley vest, talking about, I like San Francisco, and he was like, he was the elite. He was the toast of the town. Oh, please tell us how poor white people live in Ohio. And he's like, well, yes, could you give me some more Chardonnay, please, love? And he did that routine, made a lot of money doing that, and then he decided he wanted to run for Congress. But before he did, and I just have to remind people of this because nobody remembers this stuff. J.D. Vance said in 2016 that if you loved Jesus, you couldn't support Donald Trump. He didn't say that like in 2002 in Silicon Valley or say buy, sell. He said that in 2016. If you love Jesus, if you were a Christian, you cannot support Donald Trump. Now furiously on the vice presidential treadmill, he has changed his mind and has decided that this is the most noble of men. In his porn star trial in a very, very depressing courtroom. And if Tommy Tuberville would like a list of really great interior decorators across Alabama, Northwest Florida, I could give him some people. I talked to my friends in Pensacola and I'd say, hey, could you go fix up the courtroom? Because Tommy Tuberville says it's depressing. It's just the stupidity of it all.